All right, it is 6:30, September 17th. This is the Finance, Legal, and Audit Committee meeting. Roll call, please.
Anderson.
Here.
Bergery. Rolfs.
Here.
Mensch.
Here.
Mercier.
Here.
Cahill.
Here.
Delar.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Mayor.
Here.
8 present, 1 absent.
Okay, do we have anybody here for public comment? No public comment. And John, you're going to take the next item, the Zoom meeting?
Yeah. Hey, John, can you do me a favor? Behind you are some light switches. I think it's the ones to the left. Nope, the other ones. Sorry. All the way, the 2 on the right. Sorry. I texted him and told him that we're getting on.
So the next item is Make Your Move team with Tom Dobbs via Zoom. And Mayor Allhands is going to handle this.
As soon as he gets signed on. And if not, we might be moving on. Tom, are you on? Nope.
All right.
Oh, he says he's hopping on now.
Okay.
Come on. Wonders of technology. What's the next thing?
Move on.
Yeah, if he comes in, we can.
All right.
Nope.
There he
Come
is.
on. Hi, Tom.
Hey, everybody.
So I'm going to crank up. Can you say something again? I want to make sure we have volume on the speakers.
Yes, absolutely. My name's Tom.
Everybody here?
Turn it up.
Okay.
It's cranked.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, we're ready, Tom.
Me okay?
You're on.
Okay. Can everybody hear me okay, Mayor?
Yes.
As loud as I'm going to get you, I'm afraid.
Okay. I'll be as loud as I can, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Mayor Allhands, and thank you, Angel Crawford, for having me today. I'm going to try to be as brief as possible. Mayor, about how much time do I have here? Just I want to be able to
Probably between 5 and 10.
Okay, so real quick, I'm just going to be very just real with some numbers. Obviously, Iroquois County and Watsika has been losing some population, as we know, about, let's say, a little over 1% per year. One of those major factors is persons under the age of 5 is about 5.3%. So just like the reason why we started this business in the state of Indiana, we're not having enough babies, right? So coupled with higher taxes in the state of Illinois, coupled with being close to the border of Indiana, you guys do have a very robust, though, household income in your community. Your housing also is a fairly good stock of about 74 homes that we could move people into quite easily. You have, as Mayor told me to go drive around, I fell in love with the town. I went to the shop of Runnings, the last time I visited. What we do, and we specialize in, we are a conversion marketing company, meaning like we don't just print out a story and tell you that you need people and we're going to give you a pretty slogan. We actually get down into the weeds and help move people to your community. So with that, we have about 235,000 families that have applied to move through our organization that are currently active at this moment. We've moved about 2,500 families in the last 2 years alone. If you look up another company called foundation called Tulsa Remote, they've successfully moved about about 2,900 families to the city of Tulsa, Oklahoma. That started about 2019 pre-pandemic. And with that, they've actually just completely changed their town. So we have moved about 455 families to the state of Indiana in about the last 18 months. We have major partnerships with some groups here within the state of Indiana. We work with Mattoon, Illinois, Pittsfield, a few other places there. Mattoon's coming back on board this fall, actually with Running's competitor, which is Rural King, based out of Mattoon, is going to be kind of flipping the bill for that, if you will. They want to market because they're actually having trouble finding some folks that are working for the business of places to stay. So they know that they need to grow. So we are 100% a growth company in more the ways than one. We'll help Watsika and the Iroquois County, if you will, grow. I looked up, there's about 74 viable homes within the county that we could move folks to. Average household income is about $112,000 a year. 52% of those folks bring a spouse with them, and about 35% of the time, which is the majority of spouses that come, take a job within the community, which is about 34% of every family, a spouse takes a job. Our average household annual economic impact is about $95,000 just in the first year for every family that we move to. These are young families that are making a lot of money, that are just plain and simple. They're sick and tired of their car getting broken into every night in San Francisco, and they're like, I'm going to point to the map and say that is the polar opposite, and I'm going to know my neighbor, and I'm going to trust the people around me. Average household size about 2.3. About 80% of our movers are highly educated. Same with the trailing spouse. The job sectors that we move folks are in tech, management, sales, marketing, healthcare, and finance. That covers about most of everybody that we move, because those are the folks that can bring a job with them. There's a lot of stress points with people that move, in the family. Number one is, what's my job going to be like? Who's going to be my boss? All those different things, as we all know, that are very tough to have a community grow. And the way that we found it to move easily is the remote workforce. Number two side of that is 50% of the time, those that apply to move through our organization, which is basically and I think Mayor and Angel, you can kind of tell the folks of what we do, but we're a robust, basically type of welcome wagon and incentive package for people to move. But we really want to get those people involved when they move into the town. So we've actually, we have a retention rate that's over 90%. Then we then put together a development package, training. We call it the Mover Recruitment Studio. When somebody signs up, we all have eyes in the sky on these folks, and we can all interconnect with them, like what church are they going to go to, what school, what have you. Do they want acreage? Do they want to rent? Do they want to buy? And so just for instance, I think Mayor All Hands fell in love with our organization some years ago, when they saw us on, I believe, Fox and Friends in the morning. And I think his wife actually saw it first. And that town of, in small town Indiana, we actually had of 14,000 folks in, I believe, in the entire area right there. We actually had over 2,400 applications to move within 3 weeks. So we have a very large amount of people that are unhappy where they're at. They're looking for landing spots where they're going to get interconnected. And we would love to work with you guys here in the future. I know it takes a village to put this together, with whether it's the city, the county, the economic development, the Chamber of Commerce, what have you. But we all kind of need everybody to be on board. and then we tell the story of what's so great about Watsika and Iroquois County, and then people tend to fall in love with it, and then it just all starts from there. So, you know, I think that's enough for this evening, Mayor, just because, you know, I'm going to send you guys, I put together about a 12-page report for you all to take a look at after this. But I know that I want to be cognizant of your time tonight, so I don't want to just be reading off things off of the screen, and when you guys can take a look at this later, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Hey, I wanted to just kind of let you know, Angel is not here tonight, so that might be something that you and Doug and her get together with for presentation over at the county level.
Okay.
So,
Will do.
but no, I'll pass along your report, and we'll make copies and get it to everybody on the council.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions or concerns or, you know, things to throw at me that of anything that would be of concern of this at all?
Yeah, I do. Is this going to come with a price tag?
Yeah, price tag. We go anywhere from about $1,500 a month just to be on our platform, to where we have that 235,000 families take a look at us, take a look at Watsika, and we're able to interconnect through all those folks. All the way bumped up to about to a campaign of about $10,000 to $15,000 per family that we do complete fulfillment for. So the return on investment, I could put together, Mayor, a package for you, how quickly we would have that paid back within the community if we do, you know, something like that. But you know, and basically as well, we would look into any sort of grant funds that we would be able to drum up to not hit your budget.
Another question. How many clients do you actually have in the state of Illinois?
So currently, I actually had Mattoon in my office this last Friday. We're coming back on board. We have Pittsfield, we have Jacksonville currently at the moment. We do not have a lot in the state of Illinois. It hasn't been a major focus for us in the last 2 years. So we have, you know, I think 45 places in the state of Indiana. We have 53 counties in the state of Kentucky. You know, Kansas, we have about a third of the state. And it's just been those that are kind of, those were kind of the easiest spots for us to start working with us, if that makes sense.
So out of the less than 5 that you have in the state of Illinois, how many people have you moved into the state of Illinois from other states in the last year? Let's make it easier on you. In the last year.
In the last year, I believe we had 5 in Pittsfield. Alton, we're bringing on board as we speak, with a group called Alton Works. Jacksonville, I believe we're doing some police force over there, so we've moved in some police force. I don't know the exact numbers in Jacksonville, but I know that both of those programs are doing quite well.
In all your town, I'm sorry, go ahead. Sorry about that. In all your towns, what about towns in the 5,000 population range?
Yeah, so like Lincoln County, Lincoln, Nebraska, Lincoln, Kansas is our smallest, which is 1,200, 3,000 in the entire county. We actually did a pilot program to move 5 families there this last year, and we actually have bumped that up. We have 6 families that have moved, and we have an additional 9 families that have accepted offers to move there. We're just working on housing, because housing is really tight there.
Any other questions? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, so that's, you know, your landing spot there is a lot easier than what we're doing up in Lincoln, Kansas, if you will. And so we would expect to, from the side of your team, you know, grabbing that workforce that wants to move there, that wants to be a part of the community, and then us grabbing the remote workers to move there, we would probably be somewhere realistically in the 10 to 15 families for the in that first year, quite easily. You know, all making, you know, somewhere in between, you know, 108 to 112,000 typically is what we cover in each location.
Okay, well, I'll pass along your report, and if you're given a prospectus or a projection of cost, that's fine too. And, you know, we'll touch base later then, unless anybody else has any other questions.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. You can go ahead, Benny.
John, go ahead and hit the lights, please. All right, next up is Juanita Muller and the group to discuss the Opera House proposal. And John, do you intend to make some statement today?
Yeah, briefly.
Come on up, please.
And double check the mic to make sure it's on, please.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, thank you for, excuse me, adding us to the agenda this evening. I'll keep it relatively brief. Since the last time we met here, we've been working on building our network. We've launched a Facebook page to build, to promote the Opera House and saving the Opera House, and to let people like the page, follow the page who are interested in seeing the Opera House saved. We spoke to the Kiwanis Club this past week to talk about that effort. We've been making personal connections and business connections to gauge support for our effort and possible fundraising around that effort. And we've done additional outreach to Landmarks Illinois to get their perspective on that effort. There's a letter that Quinn Adamowski from Landmarks Illinois has sent to the mayor and to the city council that I think you all have a copy of. And he speaks positively about the potential for revitalization and for the benefits to the town. And
You have a copy of that, John?
yes.
Would you want to read it for the record?
Sure, absolutely. Dear Mayor Allhands and council members, I'm writing in support of the preservation of the historic Braden Brothers Opera House in your downtown. I've enjoyed being a resource to Watseka regarding the Braden Brothers Opera House and to your downtown revitalization efforts since my first visit in December of 2021. Landmarks Illinois secured a pro bono structural assessment of the Opera House that confirmed that the building is structurally sound and could be reused. In December 2022, I had the privilege to speak to the City Council about the historic significance of the Opera House and how its reuse would support ongoing downtown redevelopment in Watseka. Since that time, I've remained in contact with Mayor Allhands to provide guidance and suggestions to ensure the preservation of all your iconic historic resources. In my travels around the state, I see communities prosper from citizen engagement and downtown revitalization when they prioritize repurposing existing buildings that are culturally, architecturally, and/or historically significant. Communities that treat their historic resources as opportunities instead of liabilities, letting them deteriorate or demolishing them for parking, are those that thrive. There are numerous examples from around the state of preservation projects sparking economic development and further reinvestment in communities, especially in smaller towns. Many of these success stories are because citizens coalesced and prioritized preservation in their community. Watseka residents want to preserve the Opera House. They are proud to continue sharing the history of the Opera House and are excited to see it reused. The building is a key asset in your downtown, and new use of this significant structure can help catalyze economic activity in Watseka's commercial corridor. I encourage the city to prioritize the preservation of the Opera House and to take the necessary steps to develop a plan for this building. The community is fervently in favor of its redevelopment, and the project will provide new opportunities for residents and visitors alike. Sincerely, Quinn Adamowski, Regional Advocacy Manager. So we've also been exploring sources of funding that we could use beyond what we've discussed here to complete what would be an expensive project. We're looking at funding through Landmarks Illinois, through the USDA, State of Illinois, such as the Department of Commerce and Economic Development and Opportunity, commercial development grants, corporations like T-Mobile, and community development corporations. So we're excited at the possibility of moving forward with this project, but what we need to know is that the building can be saved, that the city is willing to save the building, and that we have the go-ahead to move forward.
John, I'd like to say some words. I have a prepared statement.
It's your meeting.
If you don't mind, John.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking for myself as a council member. For the last 3 years, the council has talked about the future of the Opera House and what we would like to see downtown look like. Since then, we have had multiple engineers and contractors look over this structure. Yes, the original cost of demo was low, but a structural engineer advised us of major costs with the adjoining west wall. 2 things have brought me to some decisions. Number 1, the demo cost could be close to the cost of the roof repair. Number 2, there is a large group of people, part of them here, with support, sponsorships, donations, and possible non-for-profit organizations to fund this project after the roof repair. So decision number 1 is I'm going to make a motion for the city not to demo the Opera House. I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a second. Roll call, please.
Miller,
Aye.
Cahill,
Aye.
Delar. No. Mercier,
Aye.
Rolfs. Aye. Anderson,
No.
Mensch,
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.
Roll call carried.
My second motion is going to be to have the Carlisle Group at a cost of $22,000 to establish an RFP. RFP is request for pricing, so a contractor can bid on the roof repair. And I'll make that motion.
Second.
Question on the motion?
Yes, sir.
Do we ever receive any other possibilities of places that will bid on this RFP other than Carlisle Group?
We made that attempt.
Did, Keith,
Well-
could you speak with that?
Yes, I did reach out. I reached out to 3 different structural engineers and an architect. One of these structural engineers has actually looked inside the building before with Jacob early on in the program. He has a workload that he's not able to take it on right now. Another one partners with the architect that I reached out to, and again, they don't have the time to do it. One engineer did give me a price, but it was only for the repair of the king truss, is the main, one of the supports in there. It didn't include anything with tuck pointing or anything with the roof. And I don't have the number. I want to say he was at about 6,000 or 7,000.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just the king truss. It wasn't looking at all the other work that was identified in Carlisle's report.
Okay. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussion?
Before we go any further, because I'm fairly sure I know what your next motion will be,
Okay.
is to go ahead and elect to fix the roof and let this group take it on. But as they said, they have other sources for funding. Why would we not try to save the rest of the community the expense that don't believe in this project? And again, I'm not saying that I want it raised. All I'm saying is there's a lot of people in this community whose tax money is involved one way or another. Would we not look at reducing the cost and just providing the property to the group to do as they need or wish? They
I'll
have
follow-
other funding.
I'll follow up on that. You just presented, John, that the original and what you're going off of said that the building's sound. It's not going to fall down, according to what the initial report was. Am I correct in hearing that? Although there've been others. I'm just saying is what you're playing off of is the first report that came back from the engineer that said this building is safe.
Yes, in his letter, he says that the building is structurally sound according to their pro bono structural report.
Okay, well, based off of that, then I guess I would have to concede the fact that, although others have said different, that if it's not just gonna fall down, then we're under no constraint timing-wise to get this taken care of. So I'll follow up again and say, you're more than welcome to have the building and raise all the funds in whatever time frame that you need in order to accomplish this and take it off the taxpayers' back.
So I think that's the Berglund report which is through who Landmarks got, and I think also Carlisle said the same thing. So it's actually two, Scott.
Well, but again, if we're saying that this building is sound, then
No,
you
I
can take as
disagree.
much time in the world as you want to raise as much money as you want to fix it, and it's off the taxpayer's back.
John, I have
Well,
a
my
question.
understanding is that there are significant issues with the roof, that every time it rains, every time there's weather, that damage continues to happen inside that makes the building worse. There's issues with the building next door that are potentially caused by the roof, which would, for me, motivate the roof being taken care of as a priority versus waiting, because we don't have funding right now, right? We don't have funding right now to say tomorrow, here's $500,000. We have to go out, we have to get the effort going. We have to, the cycle for applying for grants is like 18 months, and we're a new organization. So there's opportunity, but it's not like we can, because I get your point. I hear you both, right? But it's not like we can come here tomorrow and say, we've got the checkbook, we're ready to go. So this is more of a stopgap and a transition to say, we're willing to come in, we're going to do the heavy lift of coming up with like $1 million to finish this project. Just help us get started, and we'll save this building.
I will
How
say
long
that
will it take you to get your 5013C?
We're thinking in the range of 3 to 4 months.
And
We're already
until
working
you
with,
receive that, you really can't take ownership of the property?
We can't take ownership of it. We can't legally, we can kind of earmark people as saying, well, he said he'd help, she said she'd help, that organization said, we can't take their money. We have to get, all our ducks in a row organizationally, and then we can go begin accepting money, and then we could begin, actually we can begin the grant process before the 501c3 is formed and just say we're in the process, so that we can get a leg up on. But still, it's a long process, right? Like when I've worked with grant making organizations before, they don't necessarily like you the first time they come around. They want to know that you're going to stick with it and you're going to come back again. And they want us to come with shovel-ready projects, right? So they're going to say, where are your architectural drawings? Where are your studies? Where's all your estimates? Here's the packet, right? And we're ready to go if you give us the money. So it's all a process. It's all going to take time. So for something like a roof that has holes in it, like I think about the Roth house when I bought it, right? And Scott, you saw it this way. You'd go in and touch the wall. There were holes in the roof and the water would just seep down through the walls, just damaging everything every time it would rain. And I would go in and I'd touch the wall. The only thing holding the plaster on the walls and the mortar between the brick was the paint. And I'd touch it and it would just all collapse. So that kind of damage is happening every time every time it rains around the beams, right? So maybe when he wrote this and he saw it 2 years ago for his pro bono study, okay, it's fine. But every time it rains, now we're going to go through the winter and feet of snow, it'll just be worse. So I think that's the urgency with stop water from getting into the building.
Well, part of the
That's
thing is I
urgency.
think the city needs to show that it's willing to reinvest in itself. Because if we don't, why are other people going to want to invest in Watsika?
And then also it's important to really emphasize the effort of those, a group of people they're willing to step up. They could have just do nothing, but they stepped up because they care about the community. And I feel like that's the biggest part. If those people doesn't show up, if you want to demo it. But if those people showed up, they took their time, they make their effort, I think that needs to be validated.
Now, part of the thing with your group, and I think you and I have talked about this, John, and I'm going to refer to the depot, that probably what we probably will have in a clause on a possible agreement with you folks is that if your group dissolves, then that property would revert back to the city. Have you folks discussed that at all?
We have. And there's actually a couple different scenarios that we think are interesting for this organization. We've talked about a 501c3. We're investigating it. We're working with somebody to fill out that paperwork. But one option for us as well is to form a community development organization, a corporation, right? And we could then partner with the city. The city retains the building, retains ownership of the building, so taxpayer money wouldn't be just disappearing, right? It would go into the building, the city would retain ownership, and then we would be working as like a managing board for that building, raising another $1 million to put into the building that the city would continue to own, and it would be for the benefit of the community, and there'd be more oversight and more accountability for it. So that's one option that that we're exploring, and that's actually through Landmarks Illinois that they're recommending that kind of structure. If the city maintains ownership of the building and works with us, so you maintain the asset that would grow in value over time because it would get renovated, and it could be with like the kind of, you know, like a 30-year lease, $1 a year or
Like
something.
Chatsworth.
Yeah, and you know, so this would give us time to work out details of what makes the most sense. And there's funding sources that are available to municipalities for a building like this, for an effort like this, that aren't available to a 501c3, or aren't available if it's just some random person as a private individual owns it. So we want to explore these things and make sure that we make the right informed decision.
Did I hear that last part right? So municipalities might be able to get grants where,
Yes, where a 501c3 couldn't. And Quinn Adamowski from Landmarks Illinois has offered a couple different times to us over the last couple weeks that he's willing to come talk to us all, like have kind of a town hall, come to a city council meeting, and come down. He's in Joliet, so it's not too far of a drive, and he could come discuss these different options, so we're all making an informed decision.
So here's another option, just throwing it out, since it is a large amount of money.
Well, the thing is, we don't have the number yet because we don't have the RFP to the contractor to say, the contractor can say it's going to be X amount of dollars. We don't have it yet.
Right, I understand that. But at this point, just looking from the numbers that we had, they were looking at, what, 300,000, something like that?
Potentially, yes.
to demo it was 380 to 480, and for construction it was 224.
So here's another option for us, and it kind of takes the expense off of the city. So why wouldn't we do it like a small business loan with a low interest rate through the city to the group? They'll have the money that they want to start it up. Then they'll be able to use their other resources as they come, you know, along, and it then takes it off of the city. I don't know, taxes, I guess you would say, or I'm just thinking of an option that still benefits both, but it will help with the taxpayers who really don't feel like it's something that they want their taxes to go to.
Well, I think on the purpose of tonight, you made the first motion. We can certainly take into account that. We aren't asking for, the only specific amount of money is to continue on with the Carlisle,
Right.
you know, doing the RFP. And the other thing that I think that'll benefit for us is, you know, it might help us find out the source of why water is going into why water is going into the building next door, because we really don't have the cause ironed out on that. So
we need to
see
stop
if
the
we are
damage.
culpable or not.
We need to stop the existing damage that's going on.
Right.
So let's get
So if
get
I
this-
understand, you have a motion and a second,
We
correct?
do have a motion and a second.
Is that right, Kathy?
Yes.
All right, let's go ahead and do a roll call.
Miller,
Aye.
Mensch,
Aye.
Delar,
No.
Marcier,
Aye.
Rolfs,
Aye.
Anderson,
No.
Cahill,
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.
Roll call carried.
All right, so you know our position now, John, and the group. We're not going to demo the building. We are going to proceed with getting information from Carlisle Group to get a contractor to get some bids.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
folks.
All right, we have I'm assuming that's it for, that's
Sit on that. So
All right, also,
folks can stay for the excitement. So
yeah, whoa. You all saw the treasurer's report for August. Any questions or comments about the treasurer's report? Okay, I see none, so I'll make a motion, we accept the report.
second.
Roll call, please.
Anderson,
Aye.
Rolfs,
Aye.
Marcier,
Aye.
Delar,
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Cahill,
Aye.
Mensch.
Aye.
Roll call carried.
Next item is an FFA donation. That group has helped us multiple years. The Watsika High School FFA helped us this year with the electronic recycling event. There was 16 kids there. I call them kids because they're kids, I guess. They also did some work with the flags on the Gold Star Run this year. We donated $500 last year for this group for doing the work. Is there any comments or any more comments about another donation this year for that same group?
I would make the motion to donate 500 again.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Need a second.
Do we need a second?
Do we need, Don, is that your motion then?
That was my motion, yes.
Okay, we need a second.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mensch,
Aye.
Cahill,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Delar,
Aye.
Marcier,
Aye.
Rolfs,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.
Roll call carried.
Okay, thank you. And also, thank you to Instructor Wilkie. Phil Wilkie does a great job with those kids out there. The next item is the person that does our website, I guess, is retiring, correct?
Yes.
And we are looking for a new website developer. And we have two proposals for a replacement for our current website person. Do you know either one of these people, Kathy?
Civic Plus Paxton website, they have their website through them, and Mantino has Webfoot. I did make a huge error on the monthly management cost. Webfoot, I've got $54.95. It should be that $495 is per month, so the total would be $10,940 a year.
How much
So-
a year again?
$10,940.
Okay. Well, I think
I mean, they're both good websites. Or, yeah. So
So the one proposal from Paxton is 5608?
well, that's Civic Plus.
What's that?
Civic Plus
Yes.
is those. Paxton has. If you get
Oh.
on, if you get online and look at Paxton,
Okay.
their website is through Civic Plus.
They have, okay.
Mantino's website is through Webfoot.
you like the looks of both of them.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Either
So
one.
with that being equal,
The
then
one
probably
thing,
the price. Go ahead.
the
Sorry.
one thing that I think is important, and I just did a quick cursory look at Civic Plus. They do have the option to integrate bill payment into their website, which I think would be a huge help, not only to the resident, but also to Kathy if there's a way to
Big time.
interconnect that with our system. So that might be another plus in the hat for them.
The price is better. So
Yes.
okay.
All right, so
You-
with that, are you making a motion for Civic Plus then?
I would
Okay.
make the motion to move forward with Civic Plus with the premium design one-time fee of $850, hosting and support annual fee of $4,758 for a total of $5,608.
I'll second
Second.
that.
Okay, roll call.
Mensch,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Marcier,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Cahill,
Aye.
Rolfs,
Aye.
Delar,
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.
Roll call carried.
All right, any budget questions? Any budget questions about, okay, I see none.
We got one other, and again, I brought this up.
I
I'm
have
sorry.
one, I have one thing and other also, after you
Okay.
get done, John.
Uh,
I have no transfers, by the way, this month.
IMH, and Kathy, I don't know if you have a copy of this. If not, I'll give it to you. And we're gonna put that on next week's, I think.
Okay.
And this is to help with the physical therapy of Iroquois Memorial Hospital, different levels. Can you make copies for everybody and throw that in a box? I'll put this one up here for you. I won't discuss price at this time. We'll just hit it next week, if we wanna do it. That's all I got, Benny.
Okay. The only thing I have is our 911 dispatch services that we have out at the county. Their contract is coming up as a new contract this year. Their fiscal year ends November 1st. And I've been advised by Eric Raymond, the director, 911 director, there's going to be an increase this year for our dispatch services. The exact number's not exactly been determined yet, but potentially it's going to go from 126,000 a year to 162,400 because of the new contract coming up with the dispatchers.
Their union.
So I've not got a hard number yet, or I've not heard exactly where we're at, but he is trying to give us a heads up with the new union contract coming up for the dispatchers.
Will we still be matching the county's contribution, or?
Well, that's what we're trying to push for, that we're all equal. Between the city and the county and the ETSB board, we're trying to all have the same.
Are they going to go and only do 5% increase or something?
Yeah. The county's trying to put more on the ETSB board, I believe, instead of the county. But those numbers, like I said, it's all fluid right now. I just wanted to mention it right now in finance, that it's going to be coming up in November. Their fiscal year is November.
Can I just add to that, Benny?
Yeah.
It used to be that it was all landlines, just for the public. It used to be all landlines that you got to charge. Well, everybody's getting rid of landlines. And because of the wisdom of the state of Illinois and the fairness between Chicago and down here in the sticks, for every cell phone, Cook County, they get $5 per, and we get $1.50. So you can see the disparaging comments. So again, down south of 80, we're treated like kind of a, sorry, no redheads, are there? Redheaded stepchildren. So.
All right, John, do you have any other?
I don't.
John, do you have anything else? Dennis?
Nope.
Scott?
Nope.
You guys, okay? Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you for coming, group.
Thanks for coming. The next one gets even more exciting. So.
Public Works? Lauren's gonna talk to us.
Hey, folks, I don't mean to be rude. We're going to start this other meeting, so if you can have conversations out there, that kind of helps us continue on. Thank you.
Okay, at 7:10, I will call the September Public Works Wastewater Committee to order. Kathy, if you would, please.
Anderson,
Here.
Bergery, Mensch,
Here.
Cahill,
Here.
Miller,
Here.
Delar,
Here.
Marcier,
Here.
Rolfs,
Here.
Mayor.
Here.
8 present, 1 absent.
Okay, public comment. Hearing none.
Public Works.
Public Works report. Lauren?
Good evening, council. First item here, underwater or test wells. Struggling to get land for 2 more test wells. I have talked to our well drillers. They said the additional mob cost would be around $3,000 if we wanted to do 1 test well. We do have 1 agreement in place on the west side off of North Street. I would like to move forward. I know it's additional money, but that kind of helps determine some other things that, some other projects we want to do along North Street with water main improvements. So I guess I'm asking for approval to spend the additional $3,000 to do the test well there on North Street while we have this land agreement in place.
Yeah, I think we better, don't you guys? I mean, we got ARPA and money to.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's
Good
additional money, but if it takes us another 6-12 months to get 2 more agreements in place, that's that much further
Marcia,
out we are.
You
So
grab them doors, please.
please and thank you, Marcia. So we can put this on next week's agenda for
I think
approval.
we better.
Okay.
Everybody good with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, 11 operating permits been submitted. We went back and forth with the IEPA Some comments, still waiting for final approval on that. Well 6 has been capped and abandoned. The building has been cleaned out. All the equipment has been removed from there. Next step is to excavate and cap that water main, and then the building will come down with it. So,
So we got an extra pump now?
yeah, so we kept all the pumping equipment, all the drop pipe, motor, it's all brand new, almost no use to it. So, I mean, we got that stored inside the pumping equipment, so we can repurpose that for a new well in the future. The abandonment permits have been submitted, so that will be off the AEPA's well list soon enough. Next item here is our distribution system. We received 300 radios this last month, so we'll be starting that here soon once we're past the hydrant flushing. Currently, we're doing our system flushing. We started on 9-3. We have about 330 hydrants, and we are touching every single hydrant, unlike past times. So every hydrant's getting oiled, greased, exercised, maintained. Taking a little bit longer, so I'm looking probably 3 weeks. Every flush cycle is what it's going to take us. But so this last month we went through and repaired the hydrant at Park and Brown Street, so that's back in service. Replaced the auxiliary valve and hydrant at the corner of 10th and Oak. We replaced the hydrant behind Waseca Healthcare on Raymond Road, and the hydrant at Lakeview has been repaired as well. It was rebuilt, confirmed no leaks. So at this moment, 100% of our hydrants are back up and operating. Next one here, our North Street water main extension, still waiting for the road work to be completed. The MCL, to my understanding, has been submitted to IDOT, so hopefully Thursday it gets on their list, their bulletin. So hopefully we see that out to bid Thursday, and it's what, a 11-day letting?
Yeah, so it'll run Thursday, it'll run the following Thursday, and then the Tuesday after that would be a special meeting to award.
So if we get that, we'll be requesting a special meeting in the next couple weeks. So just a heads up for everybody there. Lead service line inventory grant, just continuing to update as we have time. Still need to do some hydro excavating on service lines to identify what the material is. No movement on the Grant Street water main extension. I think that grant is that in October or November for the Elm Street.
It's in October when they do it, but the city didn't make the list. We're still waiting. The EPA is still going to keep us appraised. If other projects above it drop off, there is still a chance that there would be funding available for the city.
North Street water main extension, so don't worry about that, no funding granted currently. The North Street water main extension, we've talked about that for a couple months now, about extending the 12-inch from the railroad down to Jefferson. There hasn't been a lot of movement on that because of the test well. If we end up doing a well there on North Street, that could change what we do there with that water main. Without that well there, I'm going to propose to drop that from a 12 to an 8-inch. I have some concerns with capacity over there on the west side. Since my time being with the city, I've gotten the chlorine feed system going in the west side tower. We put in some auto flushers. We still struggle with chlorination on the west side. There's just not enough turnover in the water system. So adding a larger main without that well and a chemical feed system right there is going to lead to more stagnant water. or we're going to be looking at more auto flushers. You know, we have to turn the water system over. There's just not enough housing over there to pull that much capacity over. So some concerns there. So that's partially my fault and not a lot going on with the north side water main extension. I've been really hoping these test wells would have come through already. So that's why I'm trying to, I'd like to do this north or the west side test well sooner rather than later so we can keep things moving along North Street to determine what we need to do.
You might have set a time frame on that test well if we approved it tonight or next week. How quick could they get going on that? Give us a time frame.
Seemed like they could get out here within the next month.
Okay.
So they seem like they could jump on that pretty quick. You know, they would just, they're pulling off other jobs that come over for, you know, the week to do this one. So it's one of those that it's timing, but I can confirm that once we, you know, I think we got approval for the most part. So I'll talk to them tomorrow and see if they can at least get us on the schedule, and with the assumption that we'll be good next week.
I'm assuming you have a spot figured out.
Yeah. So it's the old Ron Hotler's old block there.
North Street, that big vacant lot where
the-
our house was, Benny.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, was that next in between Wabash and Virginia, right?
Yes.
So it's a large, it's a city block that's a blank lot right now. That'd be ideal, and
So had to be an
It
easement,
didn't-
or would we have to purchase?
we would have to purchase it.
Okay,
So the agreement would be purchased at, you know, fair market value.
okay. So taxpayer dollars, we'll have to get an appraisal, right?
Yeah, yep. And the owner is understanding of that, so.
Okay.
We had one water main break over on 231 East Oak on a 4-inch water main. Took a little bit of time to get that one repaired. We were able to do it live, but in the meantime, we were able to find and repair some valves, working on isolating that section while one crew was working on the main break itself. So just finding valves that have never been touched. They're buried a foot deep. One was hit by Metro, and they had moved the valve box over about 3 feet. So when we hydroed down thinking it was full of dirt, there was no valve at the bottom. So it was, yeah, another thank you Metro communication situation. Next item here, we have source water protection plan. The EPA sent us a letter that we are out of compliance on this. I guess this was sent to the city in 2019, and I have no records of this being done. I've reached out to Robinson. They have no records of anything being done with this as well. This is, you'll see communities, you'll see as you're coming in a lot of communities, you'll see signs where wellhead protections in place, things like that. It's putting together a plan of protecting your water source. It's nothing new. The EPA's, you know, they started this years ago. I'm surprised the city hadn't done anything with this. So, Keith, were you able to get me a price on what Robinson?
Yeah, he emailed it.
So we need to jump on this sooner rather than later, since we are delinquent with it. Which I can get a price for next week's meeting, but next week I'm going to be looking for approval to have Robinson prepare a source water protection plan for us. And then following up with that, we're going to be having to purchase some signs. If we don't have fence or a box or protection over wellheads, we're going to have to install those. So there's going to be some work, but majority of that we can do in-house.
Yeah, he got 9,700 is what he's saying for the source water protection
So
plan.
we'll get that on the agenda and a cost for next week for approval. Next item here is our wastewater treatment plant. Our non-pot pump has been repaired. We just need to find a little bit of time to go pick that up. No cost. They did do a 100% warranty. I was able to work with them to get them to fully warranty that pump. Our NPDS permit is due for renewal in April 2025. We've been working on our wet testings, a few other things. updating different documents in preparation for this, but we do need to work with engineering to prepare the permit. We do need to get something to the EPA 6 months prior to the expiration of our permit, so it'd be around November. So again, Keith's got a price for me on that. I'll get on the agenda for next week.
These permits are due every 5 years, by the way, as well, so it's not something that happens on a regular basis.
And this permit is the permit that they're going to add additional treatment requirements, like phosphorus removal and things like that. The size of our wastewater treatment plant is pretty standard. Anything over a 1 MGD plant requires phosphorus removal, and then it depends on what level they put you at and how extreme you're gonna have to go with the treatment, whether it's chemical treatment or additional plant expansion. So fingers crossed they take it easy on us. But we will have 3 years to prepare a plan and get things in motion. They don't expect that done overnight. You'll have to be in compliance before the next permit renewal. So you'll have pretty much 5 years. Unless they change something recently that I'm not aware of, but usually you have some time.
They're 5 years, but the EPA has been up to several years late with some communities. I think Mantino's was 10 years out before they had to redo it.
Sanitary storm sewers, the Locust Brown Street project. We have a pre-construction meeting scheduled next Tuesday to go over that. I haven't really heard a start date yet. Have you, Keith?
They want to start within a month, so they've reached out to Rail Pros. They're working on that permit to get that ball rolling with them.
Next item under wastewater. Over at 602 East Lincoln, since I've been here, we have jetted that more times than I can count. There's 2 sewer cleanouts. It's a long sewer tap that runs into, I don't even know if I'd call it it's a sewer main, but instead of a manhole, someone put in 2 cleanouts, so we're constantly jetting both ways. We've backed up this home, Kathy, I don't know, numerous times. We've had issues with jetting into the house before my time. I'm proposing that we remove those cleanouts and put in a manhole structure so this is proper and we're not continuing issues for years to come. So I'm not really looking for approvals. I'm just giving you guys a heads up that I'm going to do some excavation, some improvements over there. You're looking at a concrete structure. I mean, you're probably $3,000 or $4,000 in material, but this needs to be done. This is kind of ridiculous. It's ongoing over there in that neighborhood. This gentleman's always having issues, and whether it's the things they're flushing down or not, you should never have a 90-degree turn in a sewer main. And that's what we have here. So, and someone's correction was to put 2 clean outs in, and that's not the right fix. So I'm going to work on putting in a clean out or a manhole structure there.
This main out by the street, or is this in the easement?
It's in the easement. So it's across the street from the gentleman that's always having issues, but he is also, him and his neighbor share a sewer lateral. So when one's having issues, you have 2 homes that are having issues. But this is to the point where we have to bite the bullet. We need to do something proper over here. GIS mapping, just continuing to collect data, putting in valves as we find them, updating this. We've been documenting all our hydrant work as we go through there, so we have record keeping. It's nice to have something to fall back on. Parks.
And we're doing all that, right? We don't have any other worker doing this, correct?
No, right now whenever we find a valve or we do maintenance, we're adding this to our mapping system right now. You know, there's still engineering that comes along here and there when we have to do like a major. We found a whole water main that needs to go through 10 blocks. That's more in their line of work for the major map corrections. Parks, K and West Side Park Pavilions, painted last month, August 22. I think that's just cheap, nice improvements, a nice facelift to our parks. I think we need to continue to do things like that in our parks whenever we have the ability to power wash, paint, clean things up. We've gotten a lot of good feedback on that.
So the K Street Pavilion looks real nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
It
I
needed
mean,
something on the roof for several years.
yeah. So it's definitely been a topic for a while. It was nice. We had a little bit of time, and with the lift and power washer and sprayers, it only took us a few days to knock out. So our Oscillate grant for Lakeview was submitted on the 12th. So what is our time frame on that, Keith? You know, if
It depends. They try to get the awards out early in the year, maybe February. It's been as late as even June in some years.
so this is for the splash pad, pickleball court, and sand volleyball.
the workout.
Yeah, so we've gotten a lot of feedback out in our parks and the community. People are super excited about the splash pad. I've had people talk about the one down in Sullivan and how nice that is. Someone was just telling me that it's Kankakee up there by 102.
By Bird Park.
Yeah, they've
off
got a
Route
splash.
17,
They
yeah.
got a splash pad now, and a friend of mine was raving about how nice that was. So hopefully we can get this grant and make some more improvements over here at our Lakeview Park. Next item is streets. Lincoln and Belmont. We've had some inquiries about why we only have a stop sign on Belmont and not a all-way or three-way there at Lincoln and Belmont. I've taken a look at that, and I completely agree that it makes sense to have an all-way. I have reached out to the Unit 9, the director of the school buses, and they are super excited to hear that we're contemplating putting an all-way in there. They think that that's going to help the flow of traffic versus the buses sitting there waiting for everybody zipping in and out Lincoln. I think a lot of people go around that intersection knowing they don't have to stop there and just zip up 5th Street. So I would like to push to get an ordinance change for that intersection, add an all-way and a crosswalk. With that, I think we need to put flashing stop signs in, since that'll be a new intersection. The stop signs are pretty expensive. They are solar powered. They're about $2,000 a piece. We have the ability to move them as we feel needed. I think something like that, you would leave it in place for 2 or 3 months till people are used to a stop intersection, and then we could place them elsewhere if we need to. So
On the eastbound side of that, would you need to push that stop sign further back for the buses to make that left-hand turn?
so that the east side is the
Eastbound
best-
lane, which would be the north, west corner,
the west corner.
the northwest corner, or southwest corner, well, yeah. Because if that's stopped the way it's supposed to be, and a bus is waiting to turn left to come out of there, I don't think they really do too much. I think they turn before you get there, but
Well, with the crosswalks, it's going to push
the sign
the
back
stop
enough to make
sign
that
back
left turn
4
if they had
feet
to.
anyways off the crosswalk, so the stop signs will be set back quite a ways anyways.
As long as there's enough room to
Oh yeah,
make the buses turn, so.
yeah, for sure. We'll take a look at all the radiuses and make sure
You're
that
possibly gonna have to look at what is the parking there on the north side of Lincoln. Because if people are parked there, you're not gonna
So-
make that turn.
So we may look at ordinance change as far as adding no parking on that stretch from between 5th and 6th on Lincoln as well then. So we can,
Well, there's a lot of residents that park on the street, but you might have to limit it
every
there.
one of them has a driveway though, so there's really no reason for
Valid
them to be
point.
parked on the street. So I'm against the street parking. I think there's no, and if you have a driveway, you should be in your driveway. I mean, it creates problems with the plowing and everything else, so if everybody's okay, I'll put that on the agenda for next week for an ordinance change.
Absolutely.
Next intersection we've had issues with is Fairman and 4th. There is no stop sign Fairman to 4th, 4th to Fairman, but there is a stop sign coming off of, out of Legion Park off 4th Street onto either road. I personally have had issues with my other half backing out of the parking stall at IMH. Has totaled out 2 vehicles there, hers and another one. So there's they fly around that curve. They treat it like a curve. It should be an intersection. So I'd like to add, change the ordinance to add an all-way stop there as well.
Would you do flashing there? Or
I
think you'd be all right?
I think it'd be all right. And if we see issues, we can always move the stop sign.
Where Robert's Clinic was in that house, they're planning on doing the physical therapy.
Yeah, so I mean,
Building there.
hopefully they see growth over there and you'll see more traffic, so that it makes sense to have stop signs there.
Could always add an orange flag or something on top of the stop sign just temporarily.
We can always add, I mean, I'm sure you can add
Something cheap.
just a red beacon light too, if we really
Yeah.
wanted to. Or if we have issues, we can buy more signs. I'm just trying to keep costs down.
Lincoln's a higher visibility because of all the kids from the school driving through there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially the young ones just getting their licenses. It's, next here on streets, our heat and recycle project. Still waiting for the final fog coat and some chip and seal around the radiuses there. They were supposed to be out yesterday. I've not heard exactly when they'll be out. I know we've had some emails go out to Gallagher waiting for a response from them, hoping it'll be yet this week or early next week. What they'll do is they'll go through with a sweeper, collect up all the loose material, get the fog coat down. That'll help with some of the noise and the dust. I know we've had some complaints with the dust. This should help resolve that.
Doesn't help with no rain either.
It's been a very dry.
Rain a little bit, it'd help with the dust.
Yeah. So talking about that, if we're heading to a drought, we could see a lot more issues, but let's hope for some rain here in the near future. Martin Avenue Extension contract signed, just waiting for scheduling on that work to take place. I have not heard anything. Keith, have you? I think we're still out maybe a month or so.
Could be. We're getting, so next week we'll have the final plat at the we'll have a plan commission and then the final plat for the council. I've got documents for the Martins to get signing so we can get that ball rolling as well. And you guys had already approved payment for the right-of-way and easements, so.
Once that's done, then I'm hoping to see some dirt work take place out there and get that moving. Spray patch machine has been operating when time allows. For the most part, we caught up with a lot of our major potholing issues. Now, as time allows, we're tidying up some of our dips and bumps and things like that. So continue to bring anything to my attention if you see any potholes or major dips in the roads that we can correct. I don't drive every street every day, so I don't always notice it. So
Pretty good one on Lincoln between last block before the courthouse. I guess that's between 9th and 10th, or 8th and 10th.
So yeah, I mean, if you see them, feel free to shoot me a text with a location of them. I mean, we try to keep a list going so we can go through, but I always push the public and everybody to report as much as possible.
I know it's there. I dodge it every day.
Staffing, down 3 employees currently. One is on FMLA. We did recently lose an employee. He felt he had opportunities to go make more money. He has been with the city for 2 years, so he was on the higher end of our union scale, and still felt the wages were low. So just giving you guys feedback. Unfortunately, he was a good operator, good employee, but had opportunities to go make more money. So
Locally?
and local, yep. So always on the hunt, setting up interviews. Yet this week I have a couple applicants, but
How's that with manpower or whatever been working out?
I haven't got a lot of good applicants, unfortunately. A couple that we have interviewed did not work out. We did utilize them for our tree dump, because it is hard to find people that only want to work a handful of hours, on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we are using them for the tree dump. That so far has been working out well. Hopefully they get some more applicants. Unfortunately, they haven't been getting a lot that meet our standards and needs. Miscellaneous tree trimming will start back up this fall when things slow down with the construction side of things. Equipment, we ordered a new hose for the VACCON. New hose is 600 feet. We were down to just over 200. I don't know when that hose was replaced last, but it's unfortunately every time it gets caught and stuck or ripped or blows apart due to age, we cut it short and have it patched, and it's due. We're going to keep the 200 foot as just a spare hose to add on to if we have to go out, maybe 800 feet. But we did need to replace that. That I felt was operational, and we needed to get that moving. We also ordered a rebuild kit for the water pump on that truck. It's leaking pretty bad. We're going to make the repairs in-house. But just some items that have been purchased lately. We got word that the grant for the spray patch machine was approved. I think Kathy's got that on next week's agenda.
Yeah.
So that we'll see a $30,000 reimbursement. So that'll be nice. Truck 1, the Dodge 1500, it needs tires. I'm waiting for a quote. I don't know if that really necessarily needs approval next week, but coming into winter, we need tires for that truck. So other than that, that's all I have. Keith, you got any updates on your end?
I think you've hit them all.
So we hit this resolution of support ITEP grant. We did that. Did we do that already?
Slate grant? Which grant?
The next, that's item 5, the
Oh.
ITEP grant.
Yeah, did we talk about that already?
John had me put it on there.
Hmm?
You had me put it on here.
And I'm trying to remember.
I give you a copy of it, of the first page.
Trying to remember. ITEP,
Is that
that's
the
not.
Walnut Street enhancements?
What's that?
The Walnut Street enhancements?
Like the city site, what the hell do they call that?
The resolution
the
of
cityscape
support and
or-
State of
commitment
Illinois.
of local funds.
Cityscapes. I don't remember what the hell they called that now.
This
John's
says,
looking at
okay,
that.
city hereby commits the funds of MFT, TIF, local funds for use in conjunction with the Illinois enhancement, program grants such funds equal to approximately 20% of the estimated total. Is that for, because I didn't know exactly what this was for and when I got it, so. I don't know, I'll have to look at it again and,
Can you email that over so we can take a look at it, John?
yeah, I mean, I'll let you. Was this the one on, changing the funds back from the one project?
No,
Okay, that must have been what I thought it was for, then.
okay. Was that the one that Pickash did for the Walnut Street grant?
It says from Route 24 Union Pacific to the 5th Street crossing.
Then that's what it is,
So
I'm
that's
sorry,
the,
I didn't see that on there.
Yeah, second line.
That's what it's for, is for the streetscape,
Streetscape, okay.
sorry. So, evidently we need to redo that because we're gonna be applying for it again, so. Any MFT, TIF, and local funds that we can use for this, for our match, that's what this resolution's doing, so I guess we'll need to put that on for next week.
Okay, anybody got anything else?
The only thing is the appraiser called me about the sock pond land, so he's, Gibson Hospital has contacted them. They're gonna pick up the cost of the appraisal and get back to us. Joe says if anything comes through with that, probably what we'd do is subdivide it again and we'd keep the pond. And he said that's what most towns do. That's all I got.
Anything else for anybody?
Nope.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.